Oh, it's been a while. It's been a while, long time coming. Oh, baby. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, here we go.
Purchase your tracks today.
What's up, guys? Bryn here, aka Bluray Big Dick Dwyer. What is up, guys? So, I have a lot of movies that I've gotten recently. Some from Christmas, some for my birthday, some that I just ordered because I'm a fucking addict. So, I'm gonna show you some of the stuff I got. Obviously, I've gotten a lot since my last update. A year or two ago? This is the stuff I've gotten the most recently, and the stuff I want to show. So let's get on to it, shall we? So let's get on with the DVDs first. Pleasantville, great movie. Tobey Maguire, Reese Witherspoon. Very self-aware, breaks the fourth wall. Cheesy 50s, sitcom type shows. And they get stuck inside one. And Paul Walker's in it. We got Pet Sematary 2. I have fun with these movies. So Pet Sematary 2. Put the goddamn DVD down, Lisa! And I got The Room. What can I say? I mean, there's not really much to say about this film that hasn't already been said. It's just a fun time. I mean, it's one of the worst movies ever, but also one of the best worst movies ever. Tom Wiseau is just such an ambitious guy, and he's just so fun to watch. It's just crazy to see somebody that doesn't really have that much experience in filmmaking make a movie. It just shows that half of making a movie or doing anything is ambition, and he nailed it. We got Spider. This is directed by David Cronenberg. I actually haven't seen this stuff. We got Millennium Actress. This is directed by Satoshi Kon. If you don't know Satoshi Kon, get on it right now. He's one of the best anime filmmakers ever. His films are amazing. This, Paprika, Perfect Blue, which is one of my favorite films of all time. This one's probably my least favorite out of the mix, even though this one's a lot of people's favorite. Probably because it's the least out there. Ready or Not, probably one of the most fun movies from last year. Also, mixes a lot of different kinds of films together. A lot of people compare this to Your Next. And even though it's not a whodunit, it has a huge whodunit vibe to it, just because of the mansion and the whole setup and the whole aesthetic to the movie. Plus, the dialogue in this movie is so catchy and so it just rings off the top of your tongue. That sounded really wrong. Fucking dirty-minded. But me and my friend always kind of quote this movie just because it's just an instantly quotable film. Reanimator, one of the best 80s horror films ever. This movie's like a guidebook on how to make a low-budget horror film. And the smartest idea to make a low-budget horror film is making it a comedy as well, so it doesn't come off like you're taking yourself too seriously for not having the variables to make it serious. So yeah, I love this movie. Finally got a hold of the Arrow release, which I'm happy about. Didn't get the hard box, which is okay because I don't really need it. But yeah, Reanimator. It's a decent little road thriller, which I have a soft spot for these kind of movies like Breakdown, Joyride, the list goes on, Duel. But yeah, it's a fun movie. Honestly, I've just been watching a lot of movies that just kind of are a good time. I don't always need to watch a masterpiece. Sometimes I just like to watch a movie that's fun, and this definitely is a fun time. One of the most wholesome horror movies I've ever seen. It has kind of a happy feeling to it. Even the music is really upbeat, which I found really unique. But yeah, it's a pretty good time. And we got one of my favorite movies of all time. We got RoboCop on Steelbook. This is the Arrow Steelbook. Really nice release here. Rock and Roll High School time as well. This is the Ramones movie that they did in '79. Huge mix of National Lampoons type movies like Animal House, and then throws in kind of a typical kind of music video movie, because this was basically to promote their band and their album, and I believe the album Road to Ruin. And it's just a good time, it's I love the Ramones mainly because of this movie. Actually, I've always thought their music was good, but this actually turned me into kind of a fanboy, not gonna lie. So yeah, really good time. Rock and Roll High School. Then we got Silver Bullet. Corey Haim, Gary Busey, can't go wrong with that pair. This was a movie that actually kind of fooled me in a way, surprisingly. I don't really get fooled often, especially from cheesy 80s horror movies. I thought it was a really fun time as well. I thought the effects were pretty decent, and like I said, it kind of surprised me. And we got Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle on 4K. Now, the funny thing with this movie is I actually didn't like it the first time I watched it. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't really enjoy it either. I mean, I think I was just in a really bad mood that day, and I was just being really cynical, and I was like, oh, this movie's just trying way too hard, dee-da-da-da-do. But then I watched it again with an open mind, and I think I was having kind of a rough day that day too, but I wasn't really in a bad mood, and this was the movie that kind of cheered me up, ironically, and I've just kind of had a thing for it since that day, and I've watched it like 2 times since then, so I've seen it like 4 times now, and it's honestly just like one of those movies that you throw on, you hang out with your friends and laugh, and it's not a movie, you know, what's funny is like I thought this movie took itself really seriously, but it turns out it actually really doesn't. It's you know, it kind of acts like it takes itself seriously, but it's really satirical. It really knows what it's doing for the most part, and other than, you know, some Hollywoodisms in the beginning of the film, it's actually a decent time. Next off, we got The Circus with Charlie Chaplin. This was a really good one. Probably not my favorite Charlie Chaplin film that I've seen, but it is really great. Again, you know, such ahead of its time effects, and just Charlie Chaplin is a treasure that like deserves to never be forgotten. So, yeah, Circus, back. So we got the Jetsons complete series, which I'm really happy to own. I've always loved this show. Ever since I was a kid, this was always one of my favorite Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Just something about the sound effects, the voice cast, the setting. I hate the laugh track. I wish Hanna-Barbera didn't have laugh track in his cartoons. It just doesn't really work. But other than that, I think it's a great show. You know, what's not to like about Hanna-Barbera's cartoons other than the laugh track, obviously. But one of the interesting things about this is it's the complete series, but the series actually got revived in the 80s. So this should say the complete... Oh, actually it does. I'm an idiot. It says the complete original series. All right, well, I just realized that. Yeah, so it got revived in the 80s, and they just released the 60s episodes, which are the best ones. I mean, who wants to see what started the shitty Jetsons movie that came out? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I hope this isn't Quentin Tarantino's last film, but if it is, it'd be a great send-off to his films. This is another one that I didn't necessarily dislike. I did like it a lot. I even loved it the first time, but it was probably sitting at like an 8. And then when I watched it a few more times, it just kind of resonated with me to where I was like, you know what? It's actually probably one of my favorite of his films. And amazing cast, such a love letter to cinema, and just the way it's paced through the 3 characters is amazing. And I love this film. Next off, we got Class of 1984. This movie is seriously underrated. I feel like a lot of people, when they watch this film, they're like, oh, it's unrealistic. It's like, okay, first off, who cares? This is one of those movies that doesn't take itself too seriously, even if it might seem like it does. It's a very over-the-top film. The stakes are out the window. Literally anything can happen in this movie. And that's the way I look at it, is it does everything and beyond that you want in a teen angst, like, gang film, you know? And it's a little bit futuristic, and it's just a fun time. Yeah, and the Scream Factory with the slipcover, which I was really lucky to get. And then we got Cat's Eye. Not a huge fan of this movie, but I got it for like $3, and I'm just trying to get all of Stephen King's films for the most part, other than the really, really shitty one. Next off, we got The Burning. There's a little bit of trend in this video, so this is another one I didn't really like the first time I watched it, but then I watched it again, and I appreciated it more. I just kind of went into it knowing that it's just a typical camp slasher film, and it's definitely one of the strongest, and it takes itself the most serious out of a lot of them, even though Sleepaway Camp is a lot better. Next off, we got Cabin in the Woods. This movie, I feel like the pacing is a little bit weird, and I don't know how I feel about the premise being so blunt, but I do like the idea, and I do have a great time watching this movie, and I love the stoner character. But I just find some of it a little contrived, but it's still a good time. Next off, we got Train to Busan. This is also a really great film. I've actually only seen it once. It's one of those movies I do like a lot, but it's a movie that I just didn't really find necessary to watch more than once very often. I mean, I'd probably put this in like a couple of years from now, just because I was satisfied after the one watch. But for $6, can't go wrong. But yeah, I'll probably keep it sealed for another year or two and then pop it in one day. Then we got Tammy. Oh my God. Got Tammy and the T-Rex. Why the fuck did I buy this? I don't know, but I'm glad I did. The cover alone is fucking amazing. It's even got reversible artwork. This movie is an abomination. The fact that it was made is ridiculous, and Paul Walker and Denise Richards are horrible. Even in the cover you can see she's like smiling, about to laugh. That's literally her in the whole movie. She's either laughing or screaming in the whole fucking movie. There's literally a scene where you see the boom mic in the background. There's a scene where you see a hand grabbing the back of the dinosaur holding in place. There's a scene where a guy scratches his ass. The list goes on. This movie is fucking horrible, but one of those movies that's horrible that is so fun to watch because you can dissect how bad it is and how a movie shouldn't be made. It's fucking amazing in a way. But yeah, Tammy and the T-Rex. Then we got Slumber Party Massacre. Back to the whole fun thing. This is a slasher film that does a lot of things right and also a few things wrong. You can tell the director really tried with this movie. There's just something that it's missing. I'm not totally sure what it is. I just know that there's a few moments where I was like, oh wow, it's actually really surprising. And then a few moments where I was like, oh, I kind of shit on what I was surprised about. So I feel like it was very ambitious, very well done in a lot of ways, but then also kind of amateurly done in a lot of ways too. But yeah, Slumber Party Massacre, I mean, that steelbook is amazing. Yeah, Slumber Party Massacre. Then we got one of the best films of the year, right next to Uncut Gems. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's better than Uncut Gems. I mean, this and Uncut Gems are totally uncomparable, so I'm not even going to go into discussion about that. But we got Parasite. This is one of the best psychological horror thrillers of all time. It's white knuckling. It makes you fucking panic with intensity. It's also one of those movies that no matter how dark it is, it does have a little bit of humor in it, twists and turns, and how you feel for these people and in each type of social classes, and it's just a huge commentary on class and basically how a certain community can kind of integrate into another and kind of intoxify it. And it's an amazing film. Definitely check it out. Parasite. Next time is a movie, probably the only one out of here one of the only ones I haven't seen, and that is Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. I've heard really good things about this. My buddy Jack Attack, he gave a really good review of this, and it made me want to watch it. I got it for $1, so you can't go wrong. So if I don't like it, it's not a big waste of money. So yeah, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. Next off, we got one of the most underrated horror anthologies ever, and that is Dead of Night. This movie is definitely the precursor to The Twilight Zone. There's a lot of it that you can see inspiration gathered to The Twilight Zone. And honestly, some of it I find more, I guess I would say more, but I guess I'd say just as good as The Twilight Zone. But yeah, it's got like I think 5 stories in it, and it's just a really fun time. The dummy segment in particular is probably my favorite. I mean, I'm just a sucker for ventriloquist dummy segments, especially in Tales from the Crypt. The ventriloquist dummy episode, Ask My Buddy Carson, it is the best dummy episode in any anthology horror series. I don't care what anybody says. I fucking love that show, and that episode is amazing. Last but not least, I did not save this for last on purpose, I swear to God, and it's Joker. This movie is amazing. A lot of people either either love it or they shit on it or they don't want to watch it, and that's fine. I respect that. But this movie is amazing. I mean, mainly because of Joaquin Phoenix. I don't really think Todd Phillips deserved, this is just my opinion, I don't really think Todd Phillips deserved Best Director nomination because I don't think he is that good of a director. I think this movie could have been directed by anybody. I think Joaquin Phoenix almost should have gotten a director nomination as well as actor because of a lot of the movie is carried by his performance. And Robert De Niro is great too. And it is a technically really good film. The cinematography, the lighting, everything about it's great. And the writing is really good. But it's just one of those movies where you can tell that Todd Phillips didn't. And again, this is my opinion. It's very controversial, but I just don't really think he was one of the big reasons why it was amazing. At all. And I don't think almost anybody has said that either. So the fact that he's getting nominated, I think, is kind of a crock of shit. Even being Best Picture, I think it definitely deserves a nomination, but Uncut Gems should have been thrown in there at least as well. The fact that Uncut Gems wasn't nominated for anything is bullshit, and I'll stand by that. I'm not saying that, it deserves it over Joker because it's a better movie or anything, or even that it does. I just think Uncut Gems should have been nominated for at least something, and the fact that it wasn't is fucking bullshit. Anyway, guys, that has been my video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully I didn't carry this on too long. That is my pickups for the last month or two. Really happy with this lot. Probably my favorite Blu-ray haul I've ever done. So anyway, guys, have a good one. Happy non-holidays because they're fucking over, finally. Alright, guys, have a good one. Britney out.